Tonight, we're going to peel back the layers on something pretty intense. We're not just talking about politics or different personality types. No, we are going much, much deeper, right into the wiring of the human brain, the mechanics of persuasion, and the digital world that connects it all. We're about to dissect the very anatomy of influence.
So, let's just jump right in with a question that might sound, well, a little extreme, but it's absolutely central to everything we're about to unpack. What on earth could pathological narcissism possibly have in common with cocaine addiction? As it turns out, the answer is buried deep inside our own brains. And the key to that whole connection boils down to this one concept: narcissistic supply. The easiest way to think of it is like a drug. It's this psychological fuel, a constant, unending stream of attention, admiration, and validation. A narcissist doesn't just need it to feel good. They need it to feel like they even exist. Take it away, and their entire sense of who they are starts to completely fall apart.
And you know, this isn't just some psychological theory. There is real, hard biology at play here. Neuroscientists have actually found that this desperate craving for supply isn't a metaphor at all. The exact same reward pathways in the brain that light up for drugs like cocaine also fire up for that rush of narcissistic supply. It's not a choice, it's a biological demand.
I mean, you don't just have to take my word for it. Neuroscientist Dr. Frank R. George studied this and described what he saw as a perfect overlap. He confirmed it. This burning need for adulation isn't just some quirky personality trait, it is a neurological craving that looks almost identical to chemical dependency.
And just like any other addiction, this dependency has a really, really dark side. When an addict is cut off from their drug, they go into withdrawal. Well, when a narcissist is denied their supply, what's called a narcissistic injury, the symptoms are chillingly similar. The anger of withdrawal becomes narcissistic rage. The depression becomes a full-blown narcissistic collapse. And that intense craving is for one thing and one thing only: more supply.
Okay, so if we agree that attention is the drug, the next logical question is, how do you get it? How do you secure a constant, reliable source? You don't just find it, you forge it. And the number one tool for the job is weaponized language. It's rhetoric.
This is where populist rhetoric comes in. And it's not just about giving speeches, not at all. It's about engineering a very specific emotional reaction to generate that supply. The playbook is surprisingly consistent. Massive emotional appeals, repeating simple slogans over and over and over, and creating this really stark us versus them world. You simplify huge, complex issues, you find a scapegoat to blame, and you build a story where you're the victim and the leader is the only one who can save you.
And look, the data actually backs this up in a big way. When you analyze these persuasive techniques, you see this huge reliance on pathos, that's the appeal to emotion, at almost half of the total. Compare that to ethos, or credibility, at 38%, and logic, the actual facts and reasoning, a tiny 13%. That tells you everything, right? The goal isn't to convince your mind, it's to capture your heart. So let's just drill down on one of those tools for a second: repetition. Why is it so incredibly effective? Well, because repeating a simple phrase again and again doesn't just make it stick in your head. On a psychological level, it's a shortcut that bypasses our critical thinking. It creates this powerful sense of we're all in this together, and a feeling of urgency. It turns a slogan into something more like a tribal chant. Think about a phrase like, "Make America Great Again." When you hear that thousands of times, it stops being just a string of words. As the research points out, it becomes a kind of ideological code. It's a tool that takes a messy, complicated reality and makes it simple, triggering a ready-made emotional response every single time it's said. All right, so we've got the addiction, and we've got the tools used to feed that addiction. But what happens when this whole dynamic breaks out of just one person's head and starts to, well, spread to an entire group? This is where things get even more dangerous. This is where we run into malignant narcissism.
Malignant narcissism has one trait that makes it absolutely terrifying. It's an outward-focused disorder. See, something like depression or schizophrenia primarily tortures the person who has it, but the malignant narcissist doesn't think they have a problem. They think you have a problem. All the blame, all the disorder, it all gets projected onto everyone else, which makes it a condition that, by its very nature, poisons the people around it.
And that is exactly how it can spread. Dr. George calls it a trickle-down effect. The mindset, the behaviors, they don't just stay with the leader,
they cascade down, shaping the actions and beliefs of an entire movement. In his words, this ends up creating little Trumps. This diagram here, it actually maps out how that works. It starts with an internal trait, in this case, grandiose narcissism, which is a huge part of the malignant type. That trait then leads directly to an external behavior, what's described as arrogant combative. And then that behavior is seen and felt by everyone else, and it completely changes the social reality for the entire group. It's a straight line from one person's inner world to a group's shared experience.
So, okay, we have a weapon, rhetoric, we have a social virus, narcissism. What happens when you introduce a massive amplifier into that system? Well, that's our modern digital world. Social media has created the absolute perfect ecosystem for these dynamics to explode on a scale we've never seen before. And the crucial thing to get here is that these platforms aren't just a neutral stage where this stuff plays out. No, their very design, the algorithms that are driven by engagement and pure emotional reaction, doesn't just allow this behavior, it actively rewards it. It pours gasoline on the fire. How does it do that? Well, one way is through something called a parasocial relationship. This is that weird, one-sided feeling of closeness you get with a public figure. You feel like you know them, like you have a real connection, even though you've obviously never met. And that feeling of intimacy makes you way more open to their influence.
And think about it, the more that social media gets woven into the fabric of our lives, our morning routines, our emotional ups and downs, the stronger and more powerful those one-sided relationships become. The deeper the integration, the more vulnerable we are to all the psychological tricks we've been talking about.
You can actually see the feedback loop in action. Let's just walk through it. First, an extreme, emotionally charged statement is posted. That immediately triggers our own cognitive biases, like our desire to see our own beliefs confirmed. So we engage, we like, we share, we comment, which provides that instant hit of narcissistic supply. Then, the platform's algorithm sees all that engagement and says, oh, people love this, so it pushes the content out to even more people. And then the whole cycle repeats, getting bigger and faster every single time. So what is this crazy cycle when you boil it all down? It's a perfect machine for what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. The rewards, the validation, the feeling of belonging, even the outrage, they don't come on a predictable schedule. They're random. And as any psychologist or even a casino designer will tell you, that is the single most powerful way to create and maintain an addiction. We are effectively all hooked. So, we've journeyed into the brain's reward circuits, we've dissected the weapons of rhetoric, and we've seen how modern technology puts it all on steroids. We've seen how the need for attention works just like a drug, how language is used to get it, and how our digital world amplifies it all into one giant global feedback loop. Which leaves us with one final thought. If the digital space is the stage and our attention is the drug, who or what is really in control?